Hi, welcome back. So, a quick reminder before we begin, this series is being presented chronologically. I'm intentionally only discussing information investigators had available at that point in the investigation. If we haven't talked about something that you know happened later, there is a reason and we will get there. So, we're trying to follow this investigation without the benefit of hindsight. I also quickly just want to thank all of the new subscribers, viewers, and commenters. I really appreciate all of the thought-provoking comments, opinions, and theories, and I encourage you to keep them coming. This started as a personal research project to reconstruct the case and really dive into every single second of this investigation, and I really appreciate all that want to investigate along with me. So a huge thank you. Everyone is welcome to express their opinions on the case, whatever stance you have. I just ask everyone be respectful of others' opinions. You've all written so many great comments and are asking so many valuable questions. So thank you so much. All right, without further ado, let's just get into the 911 call. So we are still looking at the first crucial hours of this case, and today we're going to revisit the 911 call made on November 13th, 2022. If you're brand new to the case or you're revisiting it with me, we're going to do something a little different today. First, we're going to listen to the full publicly released 911 call without stopping. I want to point out before we begin that this recording that was released publicly is heavily redacted and the sound quality isn't great. So there are a lot of portions of the original conversation that we simply can't hear or distinguish. After we listen to the call in its entirety, we're going to go back through the official 911 call transcript that was released by Ada County in the case of interest section for Brian Koberger's case, CR 0124316665. I'll have the source documents linked in the description if you're interested in reading them or downloading them for yourself. So then after we listen to the call, we're going to slow everything down and we're going to take a look at everything that was said, what wasn't said, who was speaking, what information was being relayed to the dispatcher, and what questions those details raise. And I want to be perfectly clear about how I'm approaching this. I'm not going into this assuming we already know the answers. We're going to listen to the call first, and then we're going to examine the transcript. From there, we'll start working through the timeline, the evidence, and then we'll see what we can gain or glean from all of that. So let's get into the call.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022. 911 location of your emergency.
Something is happening. Something's happening in my house. I don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you as you're, we live with the wife, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she not wake me up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much it's who I am.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come on the video to check. No, we have to. Did you pass out? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way. breathing?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 years old.
Okay. Hello? Hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them, they need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again? There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
You don't have to. I think so. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m. 49 seconds, November 13, 2022.
Okay, so now that we've heard it, we're going to go through and look at the official transcripts from Ada County. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this out. We're going to look at what was typed out because some of the closed captioning on the original audio, it gets jumbled up. All right, so here we go. 911, location of your emergency. Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what. We have. What is the address of the emergency? 1122. No, don't. What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. Okay, and is that a house or an apartment? It's a house. Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right? I'll talk to you guys. We live at the right, so we're next to them. I need someone to repeat the address for verification. The address, 1122 King Road. And what's the phone number that you're calling from? What's your phone number? Okay. Just to clarify, this is going to be someone else who jumped on the line. Bethany started, and then this is going to likely be Emily. What's your phone number? This is redacted. What's the rest? 3185. 3185. Okay. And tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates who's passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. No, we saw. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi. And are you with the patient? Okay. I need someone to keep the phone. Stop passing it around. Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone is passed out, can you find that out? Yeah, I'll come. Come on. We gotta go check, but we have to. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? Dispatching Moscow Law Ambulance for. She's not waking up. Unconsciousness, 1122 King Road. 70 is en route. Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started on that way. Okay, maybe. Unintelligible. 1122 King Road. All ambulance respond for unconscious 1122 King Road. I copy. Unintelligible. Multiple RPs on the phone advised saying the roommate on scene is passed out and not waking up. Believes she got drunk last night and unintelligible about a male being in the room with them. Unintelligible, being around. That one I copy, about 20-year-old female unconscious trying to get further. Copy. Yeah, it's Evan. Okay, and how old is she? She's 20. 20, you said? Yes, 20. Here, do you want to talk to them? Okay, hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people. Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone. Is she breathing? Hello? Is she breathing? No. Okay. En route. Bethany or Dylan, I need you to talk into them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. Okay, hello? Okay, I have already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. Units responding, RPs advising. Unintelligible. The patient is not conscious, not breathing. Okay, if there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it. We don't have one. Unconscious, not breathing. Do you have a defibrillator? Yep. Yes, we have one. But are you talking to the officer? Yes. Okay. I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, Moscow 46 out. Copy. All right. We're going to go ahead and stop it there because this transcript does also include the radioactivity, which can get a little confusing. Okay, now that we've heard the whole call in its entirety and we've gone through the transcripts just to kind of see exactly what the court records reflected was being said, there are so many moments that stand out to me, not necessarily because they answer questions, but because they raise questions. And the questions that they raise is what each person knew at each moment. And I think that's really important because this isn't just one person giving the dispatcher information. This has several RPs, several people are reporting this, and it almost becomes a little chaotic. So rather than just listening to it as one continuous event, I want to break it down and kind of pause through and look at key points of this call that I think are important. So let's just go ahead and get into it.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022.
911 location of your emergency.
Something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
112.
Okay, so we're going to actually already jump in. Something I noticed is upon first listen, this call already begins with the girls knowing that they need to call 911. We can see here that the first person on the line says, something happened in our house, we don't know what. That's interesting to me because instead of immediately stating that their friend is passed out, their friend is unconscious, she needs medical, they say, something happened in our house, we don't know what. So I think that's important right off the bat because what happened immediately before this call? From the initial interviews that we discussed, we know that Dylan and Bethany contacted Hunter through his girlfriend, Emily. We'll come back to them, but they called their friends to come and check in on the house because something didn't seem right. So chronologically, that's where we're going to start. What happened between the request for someone to come check the house and the decision to call 911? And more specifically, did Dylan and Bethany immediately leave Bethany's room to go outside, or did anyone attempt to check on other roommates first before calling their friends? And again, I'm not saying that answer here proves anything or that anyone is guilty or anything like that. I'm just asking what we can actually establish from the evidence available at this point. So I think that's an interesting way to start the call. It already alludes to a mystery. Something's happened in our house and we don't know what. The dispatcher, we're going to see, kind of gets frustrated because she needs to know what exactly is going on. They need to determine right when someone calls, whether it's, fire, ambulance, is it a medical emergency? Is it a crime in progress? They need to know those details. So again, this could be chalked up to them being young people in a very traumatic situation, but I just want to point that out. All right, let's continue.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she don't wake you up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to jump in right here. So we can already establish at this point the reporting person, the first caller, which we now know as Bethany, has switched and someone else jumped on the line. We will get to who that was, but we're just going to go along with the fact that this is Hunter Johnson's girlfriend, the person that Dylan and Bethany called in order to have her and Hunter come over and check. Now, I think what's interesting is we're already in about 19, I think 1 minute and 19 seconds in before we hear the exact reason of the call. Someone is passed out. And then we hear someone else jumping in who we can now assume is Dylan. And she wants to tell the dispatcher, can I tell you what happened pretty much? And she's going to go into the story about the man in the house because this was definitely something that the friend wanted to let them know. You can hear the roommates in the background kind of feeding her the information. Whether this is because they were just in a heightened emotional state and they were panicked and they wanted to make sure that all of the details of that night were being relayed, whatever the case is, it's already kind of getting chaotic because the dispatcher is getting confused. There's multiple people talking, and her goal is to figure out exactly what's going on and how to help them in the emergency. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
Hi, Justine, are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around. Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come on with you to check. Let me help you. Did you pass out? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, so we hear already, this is where we hear that someone is passed out and they're going to check. So we know that it does sound like Dylan is saying, Bethany, we've got to go check. Again, the audio on this is not great. And even the transcripts don't seem 1,000% accurate, but we're going off of that. Okay. So she's telling her, come on, we've got to go check. We have to go check. And you hear commotion. We can hear someone breathing as if they're having a panic attack. It sounds like Dylan. Some people believe that's truthful emotion. Some people don't. Whatever you believe, we hear someone who is audibly breathing in a way that makes sense if you were in a panic. Now, who actually saw Xana at this point? That is the question, because we now hear Hunter say, get out. So, did Dylan and Bethany, when they went to check, did they actually get into the room? So that get out moment, we can hear it faintly, but it's there. And I think this deserves a little bit of a closer look because Hunter says, get out. And I want to stop there because what was actually happening in that moment? Hunter is apparently telling the girls to get out. So what does he actually know? How close were they to Hunter? Were they in the room? If he is telling them to get out, it sounds like they are either almost in the room, they may have been about to cross the threshold of the room, or they already were in the room if he's telling them to get out. So I wonder, how close were they? What could they see? What was Hunter seeing? Did he already tell them something? I mean, it just seems strange that this is the first time anyone is checking on Xana. And again, we're doing this chronologically. So right now, this is just an unfolding emergency. The call began as an emergency involving someone who wasn't waking up. And that is the only information that we had. But now that we hear Hunter saying, get out, this is something I want to keep in mind as we keep going.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20 years old.
Okay.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Hey, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
Okay, this is another thing that I noticed. Hunter hops on the line and he is confirming that Xana is not breathing. Now, this is strange because there's no mention anywhere when Hunter is on the line with dispatch of apparent blood, visible injuries, anything like that. And I also want to raise this quick question. How do we know Hunter observed that she wasn't breathing? Did he personally observe that by physically examining her? Did he go in and check her breathing, check her pulse, anything like that? We really would want to know how into that room was he and how much did he see? Because again, we now know, not to jump ahead too much, but we do know that obviously we found out in the other interviews that we already watched that Ethan was in that room. So Hunter makes no mention of that. Did he not see him? I'm just really curious as to exactly what Hunter saw and how he knew that Xana, in fact, was not breathing. We now know the injuries that were occurring and we know what happened. We're not going to jump ahead, but we would think that there would be some kind of mention of injuries. Now, I'm going to be really careful because this recording is heavily redacted, but it doesn't seem like there are redactions immediately when Hunter is stating that she's not breathing. And I think this would be the point in time where if you knew someone was unconscious and not breathing, you would perhaps think to tell the dispatcher there were injuries, there were visible signs of trauma, blood, etc. I'm not saying that the absence of this is something that is incriminating or that didn't happen. It could have been redacted out. But I think this is important because we've got multiple people on the line and none of them have reported any injuries. They're just stating that she's not breathing and she's not waking up. And I think now, knowing what we do know, there's a big contrast of someone that's just passed out and not breathing versus someone who has sustained injuries the way that she did. Let's go ahead and keep going.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. They need you to talk to them.
Hello. Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again? There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
I think so. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m. 49 second, November 13, 2022.
Okay. So after listening to the call and comparing it with the information that we've already discussed, there are a few questions that I think are worth carrying forward. So, who was physically there at this point? Based on the witness statements, we already know, and we can identify on this call, we can establish that Dylan, Bethany, Hunter, and his girlfriend Emily are being involved in this sequence. Who actually saw Xana? We know that Hunter told the girls to get out, and that raises some questions where everyone was positioned at that moment. Were they in the room? Were they approaching the room? Were they somewhere nearby where maybe they couldn't see? What did "she's not waking up" mean to the person saying it? Was it based on their own observation? Or was it being repeated? Did Hunter tell the girls and then they're inferring that? So maybe they had no knowledge of any kind of injuries. It's very confusing. Had anyone actually entered the bedroom? We can infer that Hunter was in there, but because we weren't there and there are no videos, we don't know if he actually even crossed the threshold yet. So what did he see? What did he hear? What was he aware of? And then there's a question about the recording. Why don't we hear anything mentioned about injuries? And I want to be careful, like I said. Anybody familiar with this case knows that we eventually learn about the victim's injuries and the impacts, but we're not there yet. And that's why I don't want to jump ahead too much. But at this point in the timeline, we're looking at what investigators and the people making the call actually knew. And I don't think that we should automatically just jump to conclusions or assumptions, but I think that we should keep these questions open because the next step is going to be comparing this call with the body cam footage and the officers' narratives, witness statements, and then the other documents of evidence within those first few hours. So I think this is where we can start testing what this call appears to tell us and what the first responding officers encountered as soon as they arrived. So for now, I want you to think about these 4 things. What happened immediately before the call to prompt them to make this call? Remember what Bethany said. Something's happened in our house and we don't know what. She led with that rather than saying, my roommate is not waking up and she's passed out or has potential injuries. It's an interesting way to start the call. Who actually saw Xana? What did Hunter know when he told the girls to get out? What had he seen? And what had he witnessed in that room? And what information did the dispatcher have? And when did that information change? So these are the questions that we want to just keep in mind as we go forward because we're following this in the way that the investigators would have to follow it. One piece of information at a time without, the gift of hindsight. So let's just think about those questions. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on this call. I know there were a lot of really interesting comments in the last video, and some of them did reference the 911 call. Someone mentioned that they believe the call was spliced with another call. So I would really like to know your thoughts. And I want to know if you noticed or picked up on anything that maybe I didn't reference in this video on the call. Did anything stick out to you that seemed strange or odd, just beyond the fact that it was chaotic? There were multiple callers. There was no mention of any kind of injuries. And another thing that I find a little bit odd is there were no reference to the other roommates. I could probably omit Ethan in this scenario if the girls, the surviving roommates, did not know if Ethan was spending the night or in the house. That would be one thing. But why didn't they mention the absence of the other roommates? They didn't say that one roommate was passed out and that 2 of their other roommates were unaccounted for. I just think that that's something to note. Again, this is not meant to throw any kind of blame, speculation, or guilt at the survivors or the witnesses. This is not attacking anyone. This is just meant to be thought-provoking. What would investigators think? You need to start looking at the things that aren't said just as much as the things that are being said. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this recap of the 911 call. We're going to go ahead and in the next episode, take a look at the first responders' body cams. There are several, so we're going to go through all of them in detail, and I'm going to break everything down. So again, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.